Hi folks, I'm John with InspectorPrime. In this quick tutorial, we'll cover how to modify your InspectorPrime commercial master template in a way that suits your reporting style and what you want to show your clients. More specifically, we'll cover custom fields and custom interface pages. Let's begin. Okay, this is a very quick demonstration to discuss how we take the InspectorPrime commercial baseline master template that we ship to you and modify it to meet your company's needs. There's a lot to cover, but we're going to try to keep this under 10 minutes. And the idea is we're going to focus on this walkthrough survey report. Let's go ahead and start. When we get into this walkthrough survey report, we see all of our sections are collapsed. These sections currently reflect a baseline template that's similar to this table of contents. Sections 1 through 9 plus the attachments. Sections 1 through 9 plus the attachments. Every part of this is customizable. These sections can be collapsed for easy preparation of your report, and we also have it built into what your client sees here for the walkthrough survey report, so it's easy for them to go through each section, collapse it as they digest that information, and move forward. So again, this is a interactive client portal and inspector portal. This is where you're going to conduct your inspection. The walkthrough survey report, we provided simply a baseline. Let's talk about how we customize this to meet your company's needs. We have built this system from the ground up so that you don't have to leave it to create your cost to cure, equipment schedules, capital reserves, etc. We're currently working on the Phase 1 ESA report. Now, again, we had to keep this as a condensed demonstration so it doesn't get too long. We cover a lot of details on how to edit these interface pages and the interfaces themselves in other tutorials. If you've got questions about that, reach out to us and please watch those tutorials. Well, we're going to talk about, hey, I've got my baseline template here. How do I modify that when I get it? And how do I get it so that I've now got a master template that I can simply duplicate for every inspection I do for commercial properties from here on out? And the way to do that is hit the Edit Pages button. Now we're editing our master template. Okay, we see the property address is here. It's linked to that address field. Now the template itself is made up of these sections, these groups. To add a new group, hit that button. All right. Standard keyboard shortcuts apply. If you don't like what you did, hit Control-Z, it undoes it. Okay. Now, we have created sections, again, to reflect a baseline template for you. You'll have your introductory material, who, what, when, and where, prepared by you, with your signature and your company logo if you like. An introduction. This is boilerplate text that you'll want to put in there and making sure it's not specific to any particular property, but it's explanatory and explains what system you're using, what requirements you're using to compile the report, whether it's ASTM 2018-24 or the CCPIA ComSop. That's fairly straightforward. Go to the table of contents. If you create a master template, but if you need to add stuff, it's as simple as adding a section, going down here, adding a group. Now you've got a report specific to that property, or you're modifying your master template to include additional section that you want in every single one of your reports. Let's go ahead and undo that. Okay, that's fairly straightforward. We've done the same for appendixes. Okay, each of these appendixes, by the way, has a media field, and each of these holds up to 5 gigabytes of data or up to 50 files. Okay, so a lot of storage space. Matter of fact, every inspection can have up to 100 gigabytes of media attached to it. Now, let's go ahead and collapse that, because the point of this is really to look at this and say, okay, how do I want to handle this detailed information? And I'll show you some more. How do I want to handle these detailed paragraph-centric style reports? How do I make it easy on my inspectors, on myself, on my clients? How do I present this information so that they're actually going to read the dang thing, but also I meet the requirements of my reporting system? You know, again, either the ASTM or the ComSop. How do I do this? Again, we could not, InspectorPrime, we couldn't possibly predict the fields or the methods that inspectors want to create within their reporting system. So what we've done is hit a baseline. we have put all these sections in there. And this is an actual sample of a PCA, okay? You can call it ComSop. You can easily, rename it, simply a walkthrough survey. Okay, you can easily do this sort of thing to modify your master report, your master template rather. Let's undo that though. Let's call it a PCA for now. Okay. What I'm really getting at is how in the world do I make this sort of stuff easy on myself? This is very specific to this property. Okay. Now I can either bold or italicize or add some sort of rich text indicator so that I know as I go through my report I need to modify those particular sections of each field. Or I can take this, right? I can take this, let's say the subject properties are currently owned by Habitat Apartments LLC. If you don't want to go in here and type that in this specific section, great. You could actually simply add this field, subject property is owned by, and now you've got the same information and it's very easily seen by your client. It's in this collapsible section, right? And you can now get rid of this. You can simply remove that, okay? So now you're creating a template that is more or less text-based. And this is more boilerplate language you would apply to every inspection. And now you're actually able to go through and simply type in that current owner, Great, so every inspection you can just fill that in, and now you don't have to go in here and do that. Again, it's your choice. You can maintain this, or you can go through and add the fields that you like. Let's say exterior walls, right? That's another one. Well, this is plain language. You would need to either highlight that in bold, or you can add our field that was already pre-built and say wall covering, exterior wall coverings, okay? Type. Great, now I've got all my options down here, okay? And again, instead of typing that in here, I make it generic language, and I can simply select all the different types of wall coverings that property has, okay? That's the primary way you're going to customize your system. I won't go through every section because we'd be here all day. But again, I'm trying to make this a short demonstration to show you that you can customize this and create a template that meets your needs. Let's go ahead and just get rid of these for now. Let's collapse this. The same goes for, again, every section. You'd go through these and you'd either highlight what you want to change for each, or you create fields that allow you to very quickly enter plain text or hit a drop-down menu and apply that to the specific property you're inspecting, okay? We also have interactive tables here. This is all built in. This is all automatically taken from the findings that you report. Now, if you're curious on how all this information here and in the capital reserves or replacement reserves listings, how it gets there without you having to type that in, I'm going to show you that. Same for the equipment schedules. You don't type this in, but one time. We'll show you how that's done. Again, some plain text area. You could always add limitations. And here's our findings, our detailed findings with profiles for every single one of them, okay? Very detailed profiles that you can fill out. Now, all of these are not typed in by you here. They're actually derived from your other pages here. So when you create a new equipment profile, you're going to create that profile and it'll automatically populate inside this. It'll also populate inside your dashboard and your schedules over here. Well, let's talk about specifically your findings, okay? We see all these findings here. How do they get there? Well, what we do is we're going to go to, again, inside of our inspector portal, and this is done whether you're on a desktop, laptop, tablet, or mobile phone. Desktop, laptop, and tablet look very similar to each other, what you see here. The mobile phone, of course, is more compact and has a slightly different workflow, but it is, for the most part, largely the same. So what we do is we go to our inspection dashboard, and we can see this is real time, okay? You can see what narratives you've applied here. during the inspection. So you can see exactly where you're at. You can see what findings you've marked for review. You can see a list of all findings. Okay. We also have a field notes dashboard we cover in a separate tutorial. Now, that doesn't answer the question of how does this dashboard populate itself. We go through, and this is where you're doing on site. You're on site, you're inspecting the roof. Great. I want to see, this is all my narratives, as it states. This is your entire narrative library. And we ship this system with about 300 or so narratives for commercial inspections. You will, of course, add your own, but this shows all of your narratives all at once in one table. But we've got these handy drop down and grouping and filtering and searching functions that allows you to easily find what you're looking for. You're on the roof, guess what you're going to do? Go to the system, filter by roof. Now you've got all the roof narratives. We can see that these 3 narratives right here have been applied to the property. To do that, we simply select the property address. There will only always be one property here, never more than one. And so it's as easy as that. And if you want to review the narrative, great, go ahead and click that. We can see that as we apply narratives, that they move to the top. There we go. That's been filtered up there. And if I hit this as review needed, it gets even further up. So now it's helping you kind of digest and go through and compile the report. Very, very customizable. You can change any of these things. If you want to just say, hey, I'm on the roof and I got some defects I want to find, great. You've already filtered it by the roof. I want only the defects to show. Okay, I got another one right here. All right, hey, I have a limitation. Okay, great. Solar system, yeah, I don't inspect that. Let's put a limitation in there. And so on and so forth, okay? There's a lot more to cover here. We covered in these other tutorials, but that's how you apply narratives so that they get inside of your walkthrough survey report. This automatically populates based on that. And it's all right there. You'll notice we don't clutter up our walkthrough survey report with every single photo. We focus on delivering an interactive client portal that allows them to open up a side profile and view all the photos they have there. But you can easily change this to say, hey, where's my supporting media? Let's go ahead and add that there. And you can see, now they can see the supporting media and they can click right into it, okay? But the key is to keep it as a simple PDF printout so they can actually use it for that purpose and share it very easily. Let's go ahead and hide that again. Now, again, this is how you apply the narratives. You can also group. Again, I want to group by system. Okay, let's collapse all these. Now you can see all of your narratives and you can easily work through each system. Where are my roof narratives? Great. Do any of these apply? Nope. Okay, now I'm inspecting some electrical units. Great. Let's go ahead and, let's say the exposed wiring. Let's go ahead and apply that. Well, let's say now that exposed wiring finding is actually applicable to a piece of equipment. I can open this profile and I can go in here and I can link that finding to a very specific piece of equipment. Let's link it to an electrical panel that's in fair condition. Okay, that's got loose wiring. So now we know when we open this equipment profile up, again, we make equipment schedules in this system. You actually know, and the client knows, hey, this electrical panel has, some exposed wiring, and you can mention that. You can say, hey, see exposed wiring narrative, but you don't really need that because again, it's right here in the equipment profile, the equipment schedule. So, number of ways that we apply these findings. We not only apply it to the property, we apply it to pieces of equipment as well. Not only that, but every narrative, and let's go back to loose flashing. Every narrative ties in to our cost to cure and capital reserves feature. We see in the inspector finding view that we also have a profile for cost to cure and capital reserves. Cost to cure, this is your immediate cost needs. Capital reserves, more longer term. But if I put in there, hey, for loose flashing, fill out the profile. If I put in this system that it needs a cost to cure and capital reserves, I put in the scope of work, it will actually spit out a AI cost analysis automatically. I've got the estimate. It's a good start. You can put that in there and review that and make sure that the AI cost analysis is accurate for your area. And then I could also plan for capital reserves. Probably not for loose flashing, but I could, through year one through year 20, automatically account for that capital reserve cost. Not only that, but you're going to put in today's dollars amounts, and our system automatically accounts for inflation when it goes over to the capital reserve summary and yearly sheet. So this is an idea of how you can customize and apply findings to the property. It is extremely straightforward. The workflow is fast, and more important, you can customize it. One last thing we'll show before we end this tutorial is we have different views for the narratives as well. So if you're asking, hey, how do I apply findings to my property? Yes, I have this grid view. This is called a grid view, but I also have a simpler list view. What I like personally is the Kanban view, right? So now I can actually see, hey, here's all my narratives. I can search through it. Let's go ahead and just say, flashing material. I got some descriptions of that. Okay, now I can, filter and sort and find based on that, okay? So, and again, there's a number of ways to do it. Instead of grouping by defect or finding class, you could have this whole thing grouped by the system. So now you're just going through each system and you're collapsing it as you go through. Great, I got all these, and so on and so forth. You could also, at a quick glance, hey, right now if you check this box, that means you're checking which narratives have been applied to your property. We can see all these narratives have been applied to your property, and it allows you to very quickly work through your report. And again, everything feeds into itself. So whatever you apply to the property automatically gets entered in your walkthrough survey report. You're not duplicating effort. We have very much made this an efficient system, and a system where you can customize a workflow. Another view is a gallery view. So you can view it by gallery. You would have a lot more pictures here, of course, but you could also view it like this. This concludes the tutorial. It's very quick, very down and dirty. Reach out to us if you've got any questions, but this is the essential details you need to know on how to apply narratives to a property and how to customize a report so it fits your needs. Okay? Thanks for joining me. And again, reach out if you need any assistance.